Good evening, or afternoon, or morning, everyone. Hope you've all had a fantastic weekend, a fantastic Monday. For those of you in the States, I hope you had a fantastic President's Day. Hopefully, you had the day off. Tis evening, how was mine? Mine was pretty good. I was home for most of it. I think I mentioned last week that my friends and I celebrated on Saturday, because not all of our friend group had today off, and we didn't want them to feel left out. So we had burgers and barbecue outside. So yeah, I had a relaxing day too. I'm glad you did also. So good evening, good evening, good evening. Yeah, the classic American feast. I don't know when the next holiday is. Team brat or team hot dog? I don't think I've ever had a brat. Um Next holiday. Maybe at Oktoberfest, but it didn't stick out to me. Perhaps not for a while, and it'll be sad. Memorial Day. Oh no, it's a while. May 25th. So not until summer. Oh wait, no. Google's wrong. President's Day, Memorial Day. There's a pretty big day where someone did a pretty big thing after the third day that I think they're missing. Um, Although that's a Sunday, which most people have off anyway, so I guess doesn't quite count. We need to get you that Thai curry and a brat. Oh, fair enough. And then after that is Juneteenth, Independence Day, and then Labor Day. So the next weekday holiday is Memorial Day, which is a Monday. So it's going to be another extended weekend. That's not a national holiday? Really? Oh, because it always falls on a Sunday, it is not listed among the 11 official federal legal public holidays recognized by the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. Consequently, federal offices are generally closed due to the day of the week, not the holiday. Huh. Fair enough. Bro, no brat, come on. I'm not mad, just disappointed. Look, I feel like at some point in my life I've had a brat, and I forgot about the brat. Even though I had the day off and I was able to sleep in, I feel more tired than I usually do. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if it's just like, I had a long weekend, or, maybe I was just being lazy all day. But either way, as I said in the Discord, if you're there, Daisy's gonna throw the links out in a bit. Um, Short stream today, ideally. Probably about an hour in length. We'll see. I'm also bad at counting numbers. So, I don't know if I can count to 60 minutes consistently. I don't know if I mentioned this last time. I did do a little bit of offline work. Okay, I did mention that last time, but the offline work I did was the camera system. I did do more offline work in adding some text to these. Currently, they don't really do anything. I was just checking the word wrapping, because that was something that I tried to do last week, is to expand the box sizes of the buttons. Turns out they expand automatically, which is good, because that means I don't have to dynamically allocate the size of these text boxes. So today, something simple. We're going to add more buttons and more text boxes, and then sync them together, and then see how it all works. The intention that I have, and this kind of goes back to overall gameplay loop. Let's get GIMP on screen. The name of the game, as we've mentioned in the past, oops, let's get a darker color and a smaller size, is Return on This Day, and then I've always just called it Rotted as an acronym. And that's because you have about a week to go explore a handful of different research sites where there is a containment breach. And so, a little bit more specifically, there are 3 each week that you visit, and then you still have 7 days, so you can go back and revisit them a couple of times. But at the end of the week, you need to be back at the headquarters, kind of similar to how Lethal Company operates. Now, because of this, each week you'll only have 3 different, and I finally came up with a word for the monsters after spending some time in a dictionary and Google. The word is, and I think we saw it on the screen there a while ago, aberration, which if we look up the official definition of it, an aberration is a departure from what is normal, usual, or expected, often implying a strange, unwelcome, or temporary irregularity. It represents a deviation in behavior, structure, optical accuracy. The term also refers to specific slight shift in apparent position. That's talking about stars and stuff. But in biology specifically, it is a deviation from the normal structure or number, just, I guess, of biology things. So yeah, aberration, I like it. Hey, Omes, how you doing? Hey, Melancholy. Very creative, thank you. So, the reason I bring that up is on this side panel here, I think the intention is to only have 3 selectable options, 3 selectable pages for the different aberrations that you are meant to research. That kind of makes it simple. That makes it a little bit more concise. Plus, 3 is a very simple number, and I feel like one that's used pretty often. And just kind of not even, but I don't know how else to describe it. The other thing too is for the demo, I want to get this box up here in the top left is meant to be some kind of image of the entity itself. So we might spend a little bit of time on ArtV today to maybe look for some like scientific drawings of different animals that we would use in the demo. I think we mentioned like Arctic fox. I think like a seal might be another good one, an Arctic seal, and so on. But first thing that we should do is let's work on this. The idea here is that we have 3 buttons down here, and when you click on one of these, and then you click on one of these 3 buttons, it will assign this behavior trait to one of those 3 aberrations. And let's go ahead and let's minimize this scroll box. Let's get a new, I think, canvas panel or maybe a scale box. I think just a canvas panel is going to work. Optimization panel. Let's just do a scale box. I think that'll work. And then we're gonna add 3 buttons to it. Actually, because we want 3 buttons side by side like that, I don't know if the scale box is going to do that in a way that's clean. Like that. Okay, no, it can only have 1. Like if I do this again. No, okay. You're doing good? Glad to hear it. We might need to do a horizontal box. Yeah, I think that's what I want. And the reason I'm using these boxes rather than just dropping the buttons on the canvas directly, the parent canvas, is because I want it to sync up with um, the background image here. This week's homework is to try a brat. I don't even know where I'd be able to find one. You gotta expand your culinary horizons. I mean, I don't disagree with you. The curry comes back, yeah. Y'all have a very photographic memory. You like to bring things up often. I don't know what the deal with that is. Also, why does it look like that? That's not how I want it to look. I want it to take up all of this space. Not just fill. Nope. Okay. How dare we take interest in a streamer's life and tastes? Exactly. The local grocer? Oh, sure, sure. I was thinking like going to a restaurant and trying to find some. Store is probably easier. This doesn't... Alright, let's hide this for now. Maybe there is one that will automatically pile them together evenly. Like a uniform grid panel. But we only use the X coordinate. Any basic butcher shop you'll find brats. So what's the difference between that and a dog? Like, just pork versus other meat? Why? Oh. Where did it go? Oh. Hello. You are an odd-shaped button. Oop, don't like that. So if I have 3 of you, and I say I want you to go to the right, and then I want you to go to the right. Okay, that's closer. If only I could make you a little bit less square. Scale. 3. Okay, good, good. 5. 7. 10. 12. 5. 2. 3. I like that a little bit more. Brats can have cheese in them and other stuff like jalapeno. Oh, and you can find that in dogs, too. Encasing in fat to spices ratio. Streamers are aliens we've adapted to not eat. Exactly. That have adapted to not eat. Stingray skeletons look really interesting. Would make for a cool entity design. Aren't their entire bodies made of cartilage, though? They're a fish. Oh, I hate that, though. What is this? I'm pretty sure that they don't have bones. Okay, yeah, they don't have bones. I guess this is just cartilage extract that they took. I hate the way it looks. I hate this. Hold on, let me grab a screenshot of it. Yummy. Get it off. I'm sure somebody would want to eat that. Like, let's be honest. That's food in some culture. Why is this text block not fixing, like, fitting to the button? I have a feeling it's because of the scale thing. So, then I'm not really a huge fan of using this. Or if I am, I just don't know if I can use this scale transform to do what I want. Because then I would have to just like scale the text in the opposite direction. I don't really like that too much. Oh, here we go. Aha. And then we can add a bit of padding. And then I don't quite need that much. What is shear? Oh! Didn't know you could do that. You ever get the urge to rearrange your furniture? Yes. I had that last month. You want to go bug your husband to move the dresser to the other side? Honestly, that's what he lives for. You might not know this, but like, um, do it. If you don't have kids yet, fair enough. Taking the puzzle table downstairs. You have a dedicated puzzle table? Is that just like a coffee table that a puzzle happened to be placed on one day and now it is forever known as the puzzle table? Fair enough. Oh, but then this is weird. I don't know how I feel about that. Unless we just change this guy's scale back. And then I already forgot how to spell this word, aberration. Okay. Potential UI question. And let's get both of them on screen. I don't know if I have them both on screen. Let's go get the other one. Template, UI, paranormal profiles. So when I have like 1, 2, and 3, and I have these buttons that correlate to each of these profiles, what should the text say that goes into this box? Should it say profile 1, 2, and 3? Or should it say like aberration 1, 2, and 3? Because I guess it also depends on what do I call it here. I think profile probably makes sense, because it's the profile of the entity, but this page isn't the entity itself. Profile, okay. It's kind of what I was thinking. Puzzle table sounds so whimsical. It was like 70 degrees today, need to declare it no longer winter. We have escaped. It was like a train table someone gave our son, but I've claimed it for winter puzzles. So wait, now that we're out of winter though, what's the table turn into? File 1, 2, and 3. Ooh. File's not bad either. Because that kind of reminds me of how they named things in, like, the old school Resident Evils. Okay. Do we think file or profile? It turns into a table in the basement where it rots. Topical. Let's see how it fits. File number 1. And let's also change it from Roboto to Droids. I wish I had bold. I'll have to get bold at some point. And let's also change these to be... Oh, remember how we were talking about that these would, like... We were debating between green, blue, or like that bone cream color? What if each profile has its own color scheme to make it easier to differentiate like which one you're on? Or would that feel like a little bit too much? Would that be a little too jarring in the color scheme? You like profile, and then profile might be a bit too long. So we have conflicting opinions here. What do the profiles do again? So top left is a picture of the entity. And when I describe it, I'm probably going to continue to say entity, because if people jump in for the first time, and if I call it aberration, they might not exactly understand what that is. So if I use them interchangeably, they're the same thing. Then top right is a brief description of what it is. So for instance, in the demo, one of them is just going to be like an Arctic fox. It might just give a brief description of what is an Arctic fox, or like what does this thing look like, and just like some flavor text. Bottom left is just details like height, weight, maybe color of fur, and then this bottom right one is really the only non-flavor text part, where they would assign these different traits, and then when they assign it, it shows up here. Profiles usually describe animate objects like people, versus files as in just inanimate objects. Not official, obviously, just your opinion and reasoning. Oh, I guess that makes sense. We can see, because there's definitely... We can also see how it looks, but we do have enough space on here. That might be a bit strange. Old TVs usually couldn't switch colors. That's a good point. And also consistency, I think, isn't the worst idea. Let's get the background color, and let's just drop this down a little bit. Let's make it like a black. And then let's try... Let's see how profile looks, because that's the bigger word. Profile 2. And then I'll have to change the font, because I noticed that didn't apply all the way. Droid. I also need to fix it to where we don't go in third person at the beginning. Also, one thing I did notice is that this screen has a little bit too much static. I think that's because the background has a static effect already placed on top of it. And then the in-engine static effect just kind of makes it a lot more robbly. You feel like there's a better word than either file or profile. Okay. Maybe report. Or data. Idea, make classes for the danger level for the entities they're fighting. Or their fighting style, or any kind of pattern you could categorize them into. Give each class a color, so when people see it, they'll immediately get an idea of what the entity is about. Counter argument to that. Does it not add to the tension a little bit if they just don't know? And if anyone here happens to be new, part of like explaining where do these come from in lore and how's this presented to the player. The idea is this, and I'm gonna probably not look at chat for a sec as I explain this, just so I can not lose my train of thought. The idea is there was already a little bit of studying of this entity before you came along, but it was automated by an AI, an LLM, where there's a camera in a room and it watched it. Here it is. All right, look at him. He's happy. And then as it watched it, it generated a list of things that it thought it was doing. But if any of you have used GPT or AI in the past, you know that these things like to hallucinate a lot. And it's late. I'm not going to pretend I know how to spell the word hallucinate at 7:30 in the evening. So your job is to look at what the auto-generated report was and see how much of that is accurate to how the actual animal behaves. So going back to Melancholy's initial point, and the auto-generated observations show up here. These show up before you even step inside the environment. You get the chance to read these before you even interact with the entity itself. I think that's a good opportunity to build some tension. Because what if it says some crazy shit? And you're like, wait a sec, that sounds intimidating. I don't like that it might be able to do this one thing. Now, at the same time, it might not do that thing. Your job is to kind of go and figure out if that's true or not, but now that idea has kind of been planted in your head. Let's see. You could do that and not elaborate, fair enough, and people figure it out the more they play it. Hallucinate. Okay, yeah, that looks correct. 7:30 late, look. Look, you're not wrong, thank you. Maddie, I'm sure you understand, as a mother. What? Now, granted, I am not a mother. I know that might be surprising, nor am I a father, but I am a computer scientist. So, is there any overlap between the two? Absolutely not. What if there was audio logs scattered around that could add to the player's info about the entity? Correct. That is a design decision. That's one of the things that'll be in the demo. So on the map tab, there will be a second tab, similar to how we have profiles or how we're going to have profiles or files. One of them is the map to where you click it and then it shows you that camera. The second one is a media tab, where there's 3 different types of media you can collect. One of them are written reports, where a human scientist wrote down things that they observed, and you can use that as evidence. I don't intend for there to be written evidence that is incorrect if it's written by a human in lore. I feel like that just might muddy that mechanic a little bit too much, because the idea is that any media you collect is factual. There's also audio sources, photos, and videos. And when you click on one of those in the media tab, and it'll probably be structured similar to this, you click it, and then rather than it appearing on this, it will appear on this screen here. So a similar duality to how the map and this video screen output works, but like you click on a file name and it shows you that file on this screen here. But yeah, that was all to address username's comment. Are we not your children? You know what? Fair enough. Be a bit weird if you were. LOL. Imagine if the LLM was an entity in the end. Oh man. If only Basti was here, because this is something that we've hinted at. And something that's even being hinted at right now. You might, like, in the stream and in the Discord. Anyway. I mean, like a deceased human talking about the entity, like how it interacted with them. Yeah, that's kind of how I was thinking too. Like, different observations that different scientists had done. Like, you can find like a dead body and maybe he had like a tape recorder on him. Kind of like how we saw in Resident Evil 1. They did something similar. It didn't really lead to any puzzle solutions in RE1, if I remember correctly. But, similar concept. Profile seemed to fit pretty well. Let's see how the word file looks. Because even from far away, like, this is the maximum that it'll be pulled out. Reading that is okay. I think there's enough uniqueness in the word profile to know... to know what word that is, but let's see if file is a bit more recognizable. I am kind of leaning more towards profile unless I can come up with something that is a bit more accurate. But I do like the idea that since it's referring to a living thing, and we already kind of have the media files section, it might be better to not cross-contaminate the wording. Okay, file is a little bit more recognizable in this case. If anything, the streamer is our kid because we have to make him try new foods and he's a picky kiddo. I think that's just your motherly instincts, Maddie. Document might work / be more accurate. the reason why I think I disagree with document is because it's more of a living collection of information about a specific thing. And I guess not to say that documents can't do that. Here's a better example, I think. Like a resume. I think you could probably refer to your resume as a profile, in a sense, but a little bit less of a file or a document. The actual thing itself is a document. The piece of paper that you hand the employer is a document. But the type of document it is. Now, the reason I still lean a little bit potentially towards either file or profile is because I think file lends itself a little bit more to it being an investigation type thing. Like you are a private investigator and you have different case files. Ooh, or case. Case 1, case 2, case 3. But I feel like it being a case kind of detaches itself from it being just a page of information. That's not so much a case, that's more of a profile of the case. We can ruminate on it. I mean, it's a very simple change if I at any point I decide something fits better. So now that we have that, we have this. Let's fix this PNG here. It's a little bit too garbly, and I want to reduce the static on it. I just don't know if I have a version that hasn't been affected yet. I have paint.net versions of it looks like. Okay, let's open paint.net. Nope, that is not paint.net that I grabbed. The issue with moving paint.net is that it constantly changes where I'm looking. Okay, let's open recent. Here we go. This is what I wanted. If we export this as a JPEG, and let's just do UI2. So this one has the black background, whereas the other one kind of has like the slightly faded green. We'll see how much of a difference that makes. And maybe it'll look better, maybe it'll look worse, and we should apply the faded green anyway. But maybe the jitter is already going to make it look better. I do kind of like the slight fade green in the background because it makes the scan lines a bit more apparent. I don't know if any of you guys have any opinions on that. On how this looks overall. I think the problem is actions doesn't necessarily fit. Oh, right. Actions was the wrong word to use there because I was initially going to have this be like You select the profile, then you come here, and when you click one of the behaviors, you can either assign, remove, or check its history, so you can see who it's been assigned to. I think rather than doing that, it was simpler just to be like, when you click one, down here it tells you who you have it assigned to. And from this page, you can assign and unassign just with a single button press. So you're right. That's an easy enough change, though. You like the slight green? I do kind of agree. Biography, account, summary. I don't know about those. Oh, profile synonyms, I see. Let's see here. Let's do some dictionary searching. Any any English majors in chat? Synopsis? Possibly. I know you have a life and routine. I'm just annoyed it's so close to your bedtime. I'm sorry, Maddie. Get some sleep, though. It is important. Let's see. Classification, assignment, trait allocation, profile update, attribution, designation. That doesn't sound bad. Tagging. How do we feel about any of those? Designation. Maybe not designation. Assignment might make a little bit more sense. Very, like, laboratory sterile type of vibe. Yeah, it's because I'm in Google right now. I'm typing away. Sorry, I wasn't reading chat while I was looking things up. It probably would be better if I did this while I'm doing that, just so people are familiar, especially if they jump in right now. Ooh, you got a sick kiddo? Sorry to hear that. Streamer just needs to stream earlier, like on a weekend. I plan to, it's just things happen. Things come up on the weekends. But I want to do more weekend streams. They're scheduled, they just get canceled. Specimen 1, Specimen 2, Experiment 1. I mean, I feel like if we go with Specimen or Experiment, it would make more sense to be consistent and just call it Aberration 1, 2, and etc. But then I think that kind of goes back to the original conundrum of, it's not the specimen itself, it's the profile of the apparition. Let me continue looking for some words here. Case file. So I think, because I think I said case before. Or like, maybe, like you said, specimen, but like specimen record. Subject record. Or entry, like entry 1, entry 2, entry 3. Good night, Maddie. No Wednesday stream. I should clarify. So let me drop in the Discord and throw the schedule up for this week for people who aren't in there. There is a Saturday stream at the end of this week that is planned for 11 a.m. PT. No Wednesday stream though. I'm sorry, Maddie. I'm sorry, but you know what? You know what? Hey, weekend stream 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Woo! I did also say I wanted to keep this at about an hour, and we're already about an hour in. That's prime family time, sir? Okay. Well, the stream does typically last... Last time it was close to about 4 hours. So, they're longer than the typical streams. Also, in my defense, that's what YouTube told me is peak activity for people to be on YouTube. You need like 8 p.m. start time? But it's 8 p.m. right now, Maddie. No, I know there's time difference. I just don't remember your time zone. Get some sleep. I always appreciate you dropping by. And all the feedback you've got. It is 10 p.m., you fool. I'll consider. But I gotta stop making promises I can't keep. Oh, you know what? I got an idea. Check it. I get rid of this. And I just don't put it back in. That way I can change it later. I can change it in engine. Let's add the little green effect to it also. People without family scroll on YouTube makes sense. It's hump day. Nighty night. Be sure to heckle streamer. Heard 07. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Okay. That looks clean. Now we just gotta save it. Then we re-import it. And then we add some nice flavor text. Let's see. Assignment classification. I feel like trait allocation probably makes sense since it describes an action and it's a little bit more clear what pressing these buttons does. I also want to center justify this. Where is my option to do that? Oh, it's not going to be stretched. So something like that is going to be better. Yeah. It's a little off center. More specifically, I think it is perfectly center, but the other thing is off center. So to give the illusion of it being centered, I have to off center it. Okay. So for this one, file or profile seemed to work, but I think I might lean more towards either case file or entry. I guess we have 4 options, right? Case file 1, 2, 3, entry 1, 2, and 3, file 1, 2, and 3, or profile 1, 2, and 3. For anyone who's still around, how do we feel about those? Melancholy says profile. Let's mix and match here a little bit. Since we have 3, we can at least have them all show up at one point, or at one time. You count as 5 votes? I don't know about that. You like file because it's closer to a computer style. Okay, I can see that. And I think another thing too that I'm trying to keep in mind is how intuitive is the name? Because right now I'm looking at entry 3, and I think that's kind of confusing for like trait allocations. Even though on here on the side it will like this will also say, you know, file 1, 2, and 3 or whatever text is like these will be the same text. So I instantly don't like entry. I don't like how I'm not clicking on that. A case file with some of Snowflake as a whole. Entries like a notebook, a case file would be a larger set of data. That's a good point. All right, let me soak this in. I like file because of its simplicity and how it's less impactful and it's straightforward. Profile, I think, is more descriptive. And so it's really, what do I value between those two? Did you see your art? I didn't look through all the art chat, no. Oh! I just missed this. That's pretty good. That's really good. I'm gonna show that on stream too. This is so Discord art channel. Basti's future avatar in progress. It's cool. How do you just miss it? I haven't. I've been offline most of the weekend. Wait, think of this as a software developer of Snowflake's perspective. Okay. That's a good point. As a developer, my fear would be that people wouldn't understand what file means, and that they would end up reaching out to me and be like, hey, Ren, I don't know how to assign the behavior traits to, you know, Aberration 1. How do I do that? And it's like, oh, you just add it to its file. Where do I find that button? Profile is a bit more descriptive. Oh, so the question is, Basti, is the idea is that each week you have 3 entities that you have to research. You'll, ooh, whoops. Let's just go into play mode. It's easier. The point is you have a list of behavior traits that go to one of these 3. And by clicking one and clicking a file, you assign it to either creature 1, 2, or 3. And we're trying to figure out what's the best name for like this page, this description page. And we've kind of whittled it down to either a profile or a file. That's the tutorials problem, though? Well, we have one vote for profile on Melancholy, one vote for file on Twitch. I'm indifferent. Yeah, Bessie, legitimately, it looks amazing. You've been improving at a incredibly rapid pace. 2 votes count, Maddie. Pick profile, quit overthinking. We also have some people that are going to be here offline and maybe even comment in the chat. Cough, cough, Hoden, if you're here watching, or anyone else in the VOD. We'll rock profile for now. Because I might want to use the word file for something else on that third monitor. Luckily enough, it is an easy thing to change back and forth to. But I have a tendency to, you're right, overthink things and take too long on small decisions. Yeah, if they don't understand what file means, how have they installed Steam? That's a good point. That's also like, the core mechanics of the game are also significantly more complicated than just what does the button mean. Let's see how well profile fits in like a tab button here. I didn't want to go too much past an hour tonight. I'm trying to think what's a good way to do this. Probably buttons again. I was thinking I could potentially just have 3 widgets. Kind of like what we did with the map. Or I could just have, like, I could just store the info in an array and then just load it when a button is pressed. That's probably easier to do. You should add an X button that when you press close the tab in the daisy. Huh? Might have been some typos there. When you close the tab, Daisy says there's no escape and then reopens the tab. Oh, just like I see. Like a fun little Easter egg type thing. Because I don't talk to you, I got my first art commission from this one guy. I'm not getting paid, but still awesome. Heck yeah. The streamer unknown, I'm making noise. Oh, that's so cool. I mean, yeah, that's where you start. I mean, that's not just artists. Like, voice actors will usually do that. It's a very common thing, but that's awesome. That's like great first role into, I guess, just taking a request. Does the LLM have a name? It's secretly Daisy. No, it's not Daisy. It's what is it? It's been a while since I've typed it out. It's what is it? Diagnostic analysis inference system revision X. I was also on his stream talking to him on a call. Oh, sick! Do you guys do games together or just chatting? I also don't know if that's how inference is spelled. Nope. It's with an E. So close. It's so the revision isn't included in the acronym. But the revision letter is. So it's days X. So the one that came before this was C. Was a W. I wonder what the one that comes after this is. Him, me, and a few of his friends played this one party game. Oh, which one? You're so confused, fair enough. Can I do horizontal layout? Oh, Jackbox is a lot of fun. Google UI horizontal text. Actually, I think I know how to do that. Because we accidentally discovered it earlier. It wasn't skew. Oh no, that's not skew. UE5 or vertical text widget vertical text. How to make widget vertical text. Setting the render transform angle. That didn't help me. Wrap your text block in a size box. Enable... I think this is a better method. Or even better, if we just do this, have wrap text on. Yeah, it's an hour 6, I know. As soon as I can probably get this horizontally correct, I think I'll probably call it there. Thank you for the heads up. This always takes longer than it does in my head. It did say size box. But they can't have children like that. Unless we did like profile number 1. But, oops, don't open that. I thought maybe letter spacing would do something. Unless, can I do like, I can. I don't know how that'll look though. Oh. Username? You might have been onto something. I can't get the word profile to fit in the button. It's too big. File, though, fits perfectly. I mean, I could, like, reduce the size, but then that just kind of kills the readability. And I think making it vertical kills the readability, too. Even if I could get it to fit vertically. We just intuitively read things. Oh, yeah. The blue background also makes it a little bit harder. I want to make it a little bit more transparent. That's not to say it's impossible to get profile to work somehow, but at least for tonight, to give us the simplest path of least resistance. How come you have double profile tabs? Wouldn't it make one of them not used because everyone would just use the same profile screen? Perhaps I didn't explain this too well, and it's definitely my fault because we're not seeing it in motion. And Bassie, I'll answer your question in a second. I saw it. But the idea is when you click profile 1, which is now file 1, it'll show up here. But when you click to file like 2 and 3, the list will change to what you've assigned it, and you will also see the picture of that third entity. So let's say the first one's a fox, second one's a seal, let's say the third one is an eagle. And let's say here it says has fur. Okay, seals have fur too. Has 4 legs. Has flippers has wings. 4 legs, you click profile 1. Flippers, you click profile 2, because that's for the seal. And then has wings, you would click profile 3, because that's the eagle. And now you could like look at this and like click the buttons and see who it's assigned to. But when you go back here, you can click file 1. It'll give you a brief, flavor text of the fox, but it'll also show you what you've assigned to the fox. And then same thing, flavor text of the seal, what you've assigned to the seal, which this page doesn't do a whole lot if it's just such a small subset of behavior traits. So when you have a much longer list, say like maybe even 20 or 30, and it's possible for 2 aberrations to share the same behavior trait, that makes this page a lot more useful. Because if you're in the... And I still don't believe that I'll have level with multiple entities. The idea is you have 7 days, because you have a week, and you have 3 locations you can go to. Each of these locations houses one of them. So we can say this one's the fox, this one's the seal, this one's the eagle. And over these 7 options you have, you can visit this one, this one, this one, and then maybe you can go and revisit a couple of the other ones. Yeah, etc. So, at one time, you will really only be focusing on one profile. But you can go back because it's a bigger picture, you need to look at all 3. And then how's my Valentine's? Good. It wasn't really Valentine's, so we did a barbecue with my friends to celebrate President's Day in the evening. The day itself, I really didn't do all that much. But the reason we didn't do that today was because not all of our friends had today off, but we still wanted to celebrate President's Day. So we did it on Saturday instead so that they didn't feel left out. And then today, I had the day off, I just didn't do anything. I was just chilling, watching TV. Well, I did a little bit of work on this. I think I showed that at the beginning of the stream, that I got the flavor text and the buttons to work. I might need to move this closer so that these words are easier to see. I also scaled this down too much. But I would consider that maybe part of the aesthetic part of the development, to where not really worth trying to focus on that now. We'll come back to it at some point and clean it up. But just for like the before I forget, just for the functional part, I think that setup is fine. I'm going to change these to profile. I'm going to fix the scaling of that one button now before I forget, because next time I might... What was it, 32? 24. And we can even maybe potentially make this a little bit bigger than 24. Let's see what it can fit in there. 32? 32, yeah, that looks good. And then I can always just like either move this to the side or move this left screen a little bit more to the right so that it fits a bit better. But even looking straight forward at it, this is still kind of blurred a bit. How about full screen? Yeah, so I think overall solution is just to kind of bring this over a little bit more to the right. Make it a little bit easier to see. Okay. I did mention today it would be a little bit of a shorter stream. I said about an hour or about an hour 20. Username says, I won the battle, but not yet the war. Someday the file will overrun profile. You gotta be on your toes until day comes. Username. On your toes. Rubio. Hello. It has to have an Easter egg where it has... What is that? Sorry, I can only speak one language and hardly even that. To English. We buy trucks and vans? What is that from? You speak Japanese? No, not... I'm studying a little bit on Duolingo. But I don't... Like, to say I speak it would be completely incorrect. I used to be able to speak a little bit of Latin, but no one else I know speaks it. So there's not really too much of a reason to remember it. Okay, if any of you are interested in dropping by for the next stream, there is no Wednesday stream. So my usual stream times are Monday, Wednesday at 7 PT, and then Saturday at 11 PT. These past couple Saturdays had been canceled, but this week, Wednesday, no stream on this Wednesday. Next stream is this Saturday for 11 PT. Hopefully. I mentioned that the Saturdays sometimes get the can as other things come up, but hopefully not. I do believe that I have this Saturday free, finally. So, with that said, I appreciate all of you for coming out, all of you for giving feedback and kind of bouncing back and forth and working with me as I try to figure out some design decisions with this. It's super helpful to have you all here. And then, even if you're not here live, having you in the VOD after the fact is also helpful and appreciated. Thank you for the stream, everyone. I hope you have a wonderfully whimsical week. Goodbye and be active more. Also, thanks for the pin. Oh yeah, that was also useful for me too. We'll look at that real quick on what I pinned, because it was talking about CCTVs and like what did you say username? Here it is. Animating movement on pixel art, you move by a factor of 1 pixel, then 2 pixels, 4, 8. I don't know exactly why that is. Maybe we can talk about that next time because I'm curious, or maybe you talk about it here at some point. But yeah, that was cool. So that was helpful for me too. Just to have in my back pocket. The Puttery Mate, yeah. At first I thought maybe it was because of the curvature of the CCTV screens, but then I saw that you said it was for pixel art, so... But either way, it's cool, and I'm sure some people will find it handy. Okay, I am gonna get some rest. I will see you all hopefully on Saturday. So have a good week ahead. For those of you in the States, I hope you had a good President's Day, and enjoy your short week. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday and remainder of the days to come. Have a good night.